After hours of standing off, this situation has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA.
You just shut the fuck. Raid my place and break into my gun boxes. You're gonna find guns, but these aren't. Well, I'm not in a gang. What difference does it make?
Donald Trump's immigration policies have ended up almost 5 months into his presidency, pandemonium and lawlessness on the streets of one of America's biggest cities.
The Mexican flag is flying and anger directed.
Welcome back to your daily dose of scandal and glamour. Let's spill the tea on today's biggest celebrity stories. Katt Williams just dropped a bomb. He says what's happening in LA ain't just some random chaos. It's a full-blown smokescreen. According to him, this riot talk, it's a cover, a slick distraction cooked up to hide a dark, elite-level scheme unfolding right now. And it's not some Hollywood script. He swears this is real life playing out like a shadow operation. Katt says billionaires are disappearing into thin air, Marines are hitting the streets, and protesters, they're being snatched up by unmarked agents. No names, no uniforms, just vans pulling up and people vanishing. But the news, they keep pushing the same tired story. Just another clash between angry crowds and police. Katt ain't buying it. He calls it what it is, a carefully crafted disaster, a setup. While the world watches the flames, something much scarier is moving in the dark. And he's been warning us. Now downtown LA looks like a war zone. Buildings are lit up in flames.
Now, you were actually stopped for this and let go. Because you have a license for it,
No,
right?
This is their 9th time coming to my house. The problem was this time they came to my office and took my kids from an office. Not from my house, from an office. So now when I can't have my kids at my office.
Yes, it is.
Waymo taxis melted down to twisted metal, and protesters are losing their minds yelling at ICE vans rolling through with zero ID, just snatching folks off the sidewalk. It's wild. LAPD, they're retreating. Chased off corners they used to run. But here's the real question. How did this all go down so fast? It all kicked off the second ICE dropped a series of coordinated raids across the city. And they didn't hit just shady spots. Nah, they raided schools, parking lots, construction sites, and even a Home Depot where dozens of undocumented workers were just out there trying to hustle for a paycheck. The second those vans hit the block, panic tore through Latino communities in LA like wildfire. Word spread fast. And fear spread faster. And get this, Trump didn't even wait for local approval.
Do you understand that people that are not very bright are in charge of nuclear bombs all across the country? Mm-hmm. That's what he knows. He knows that 30% of all weapons systems are running off regular Wi-Fi. So what does that mean? That means if a solar flare or a meteor hits either one of those, literally a bomb can go off just because the system accidentally got turned off. Yeah, that's what he knows. The people that are in power know that the people that are running the most complicated and deadliest things on the planet are just an average idiot. And you know lots.
He went full blitz mode, activating 2,000 National Guard troops without so much as a heads up. LAPD left in the dark. Governor Gavin Newsom, clueless. Mayor Karen Bass, no warning. It was like the feds just kicked the door down and stormed the city. And then it got even scarier. Federal agents rolled in like shadows. No marked vehicles, no badges, no body cams. Just straight black tactical gear and ski masks, dragging folks into vans like it was some covert op. People were yelling, asking what was going on, but all they got was dead silence. That ain't law enforcement. That's straight up kidnapping on American streets. Yeah, the protests were already bubbling up, but this lit the whole city up. Within hours, people were hitting the streets armed with banners, megaphones, and water bottles ready to resist. But what met them? Tear gas. Rubber bullets, agents crouched on rooftops, masked men snatching folks up like ghosts in the night. LA turned into a war zone before the sun even set. Let's not play pretend. This ain't normal.
About what's going on in Los Angeles, because either you're reading the news and there was a giant riot last night and buildings on fire and people are looting, or people were just being kidnapped off the street by people in masks with...
Not even during the peak of 2020's chaos, not even back in the Rodney King riots, did the government yank National Guard troops out of bed and drop them into LA in under 12 hours. That kind of speed? That's not reaction. That's premeditated. Even the LAPD chief had to admit they were blindsided. They weren't even told about the ICE raids until after they were already in motion. And California, they came swinging the very next morning, slapping the Trump administration with a lawsuit for deploying the Guard without permission. But while the media kept looping footage of burning Teslas and smashed storefronts, nobody stopped to ask the real question. Why was the military showing up over some graffiti and scattered protests? Why was ICE storming job sites in immigrant-heavy neighborhoods without warrants? And why were those same agents, masked up and grabbing people, being spotted in cities they had no business operating in? This is where Katt Williams stops sounding like a comedian and starts sounding like a straight-up prophet, because something about this whole setup ain't adding up. And according to Katt, that confusion, that's the point. Keep people distracted, off balance, questioning everything while the real play unfolds behind closed doors. They called him crazy, said he was just ranting, maybe high again, but he didn't stop talking. He knew what was coming. Let's rewind to the early 2000s, back when most comedians were playing it safe, chasing sitcom checks and smiling for corporate deals. But not Katt Williams. He was out here calling out the cops, exposing police brutality, and saying the quiet parts loud, and he paid for it, hard. We're talking multiple arrests, non-stop smear campaigns, and even worse,
fascist governments do when people rise up, and the people are rising up. Like, we are here defending our communities. There's no two ways about it. We are here to say you cannot separate these families, you cannot take people away.
They're picking up people, vans are coming, people, and their faces are covered, they're wearing black, and they're just putting people in vans, arresting them. It's happening all over. And now that the National Guard has been released, it's horrifying.
His own children taken from him under the shadiest circumstances. Not once, not twice, 9 times. They raided his office and took his kids right in front of his staff like it was some mob movie. Katt wasn't making stuff up. He was living through the exact nightmare that communities in LA are now being forced to face right now. This isn't just some over-the-top rant. This was his reality. And now, the only way he says he can feel safe is by exposing it all. Let's be real. This ain't just about ICE. It's about how law enforcement has become so militarized. It's being used to shut people down, wipe people out, and control the narrative. And now the streets of LA, they're playing out like a scene-by-scene remake of everything Katt warned us about years ago. People laughed at him when he was calling out Jeffrey Epstein and those elite freak parties way before the media caught on. They clowned him when he talked about underground bunkers and secret Illuminati recruiting schemes. But guess what? He was on it before anybody was even paying attention. Katt Williams was never scared to name names, and that's exactly what made him dangerous. He didn't just speak on issues, he exposed systems. Years ago, Katt called out the media machine, saying they use outrage to cover up censorship. And now?
World people exist because it's a very powerful concept to have and far too lucrative and beneficial to not be attempted.
Just look at what we're seeing from LA. Flames, sirens, chaos, and chopped up sound bites. But where's the full story? Where are the full arrest videos? Where are the identities of those unmarked agents dragging people off the streets? Why aren't journalists being allowed into the detention centers to speak with the immigrants? Why are drones creeping over neighborhoods at midnight like it's a war zone? It's because this ain't about justice. It's about control, distraction, and Katt knew it. This isn't some brand new strategy. It's the same elite playbook, just upgraded. This is how they operate during national crises. The ghosts in those vans? That's the fear delivery system, designed to keep people paranoid, confused, and silent. Let's hit the facts. These agents aren't chasing violent criminals. They're coming for peaceful protesters. People handing out water, people filming. One girl got snatched just for standing next to a banner that read, "No raids on stolen land." Another man was tackled and cuffed just for walking away from the protest zone. And still, no names, no charges, no accountability. And this is where Katt's voice starts sounding like the only one that actually makes sense. But don't get it twisted. What's happening in LA isn't just about injustice. It's about investment, power, and keeping control by any means necessary. So stop and ask yourself, who's really winning while the city burns? Let's follow the money trail, because that never lies.
20 years I told you the police is out there hurting people, and y'all didn't want to believe me. Y'all just said, can't keep getting in trouble. The whole time I was just glad I made it out alive. And finally the chickens have come to roost. We are going to get rid of racism this time, once and for all, no matter what has to happen, folks. It only must be identified.
Just in the past week, 3 major tech giants quietly pulled their real estate deals out of downtown LA. The same companies that were pumping cash into LA's future, gone, vanished. Meanwhile, shadowy shell companies, with quiet ties to foreign investors, are sliding in, scooping up distressed buildings for pennies on the dollar. So while protesters are getting pepper sprayed for holding signs and chanting, billionaires are buying up entire blocks. This ain't just capitalism. This is engineered chaos. We've seen this script before. New Orleans after Katrina, Ferguson after the riots, Baltimore after the uprising. Public outrage turns into private profit every single time. Developers roll in like vultures. Real estate sharks cash in. And the people who actually live in these neighborhoods, evicted, pushed out, forgotten like they were never there. But LA, this is the ultimate jackpot. It's home to the richest of the rich. Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos. And where are they now? Not in LA? They dipped, gone, vanished while the city crumbles. They're off the grid, watching from secure bunkers or remote hideouts while LA goes up in flames. Elon, he ain't said a word about the chaos. The same week LA burns, he's out here tweeting about Mars. And here's the twisted part. People are getting arrested under drones powered by Tesla tech. Elon's own creations are now surveillance weapons, used to police the same streets he once called part of the future. And guess what? It doesn't stop there. New reports are showing a wild spike in private security contracts across Southern California. And guess who's cashing in? Big corporations, surveillance firms, and prison contractors are all getting fat checks. Fear is the new gold rush. Surveillance companies are locking down new government deals, and prison budgets are skyrocketing thanks to all these sudden detainment needs. While folks are glued to TikTok watching protest clips go viral somewhere behind the scenes, people are getting paid off every single arrest. And don't forget, the National Guard doesn't roll in for free. Their presence costs millions. That money goes straight into riot gear, tactical weapons, military vehicles, and high-tech surveillance towers, all flowing into the deep pockets of the same defense contractors that used to profit off wars overseas. Now, they're making bank right here at home. And while LA is choking on smoke and tear gas, while ICE vans cruise through neighborhoods and masked agents are shoving people into unmarked trucks, a whole different scene is playing out far from the chaos. Behind a 6-foot privacy wall in Hawaii, Mark Zuckerberg's $270 million private bunker is being completed in silence. No rumors, no theories. This is documented, publicly filed, and massive. Let's break it down. 30 bedrooms, underground food vaults, air filtration systems, private energy grids, and yes, even escape tunnels. This ain't no panic room. This is a full-blown civilization reset button, and the timing, way too perfect to ignore. And guess what? Zuck's not the only one building escape routes while the rest of the world burns. According to property records and insider leaks, there's a pattern that's getting way too loud to ignore. Billionaires are bailing on LA. They're not just moving, they're relocating assets, dumping real estate, and straight up disappearing underground. Peter Thiel bought land in New Zealand years ago. Now he's turning it into a fortress. Jeff Bezos, he copped a massive ranch in West Texas with its own airfield and a full renewable energy system. And Elon Musk, he sold off his California cribs and now splits his time between Austin and secret underground SpaceX facilities. So what's the rush? Why are the richest people on Earth suddenly vanishing and digging bunkers? Katt Williams thinks he knows. And yeah, it might sound crazy, until it doesn't. These billionaires aren't just reacting to the present, they're prepping for what's next. And if Katt's right, what's coming ain't just more riots or protests. It's a full-blown system collapse, or worse, a reset designed to look like one. And here's where things get real disturbing. These bunkers ain't just about hiding, they're about selective survival. You don't build a self-sustaining underground compound unless you believe most people won't make it. These aren't doomsday shelters, they're survival palaces with military-grade security and AI-powered surveillance. That says it all. They're not scared of zombies, they're scared of us. But here's what Katt really wants folks to wake up to. If these billionaires are prepping for something so serious they won't even say it out loud, then just how deep does this thing go? Rich people don't drop hundreds of millions on bunkers and private islands just because they're paranoid. They do it because they know something. They're not guessing, they're planning. And Katt's been yelling this from the stage for years. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't some one-off creep. He was a supplier, a middleman for something way bigger. And just when folks think that whole scandal's buried and done, boom, another rich weirdo creeps out the shadows and picks up right where Epstein left off. This ain't over, not even close. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay in the loop with all the latest. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll catch you in the next video.